Hello and welcome to Xctualyfe's very first AMA. I'm your host, Tarek Alskov, and today I've brought two very special people to answer all the questions you might have about Actual Life. For the people who don't know you guys, could you introduce yourselves, please?
Hi, my name is Warren, co-founder and CEO of Actuality.
And I'm Adrian Oliveiro. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Xctualyfe.
Great. So before we begin, starting with Actuality, a company that did live streaming during COVID-19 to now focusing on 360 immersive experiences. How did Actual Life come about? And is there a bridge between Actuality and Actual Life?
Um, Adrian, maybe I'll start first, and then
Yeah.
add the flavors and the colors. So actually, we started this journey with a planning session in second half of 2019. Because we wanted to future-proof ourselves as a company. So Adrian and I did a few months of planning and decided where we were gonna go into virtual experiences, and then resulted in a few different paths we decided to take in our roadmap. VR, AR, 360 being one, and then something that we ideated as a virtual city, because we wanted to enable brands, businesses, and creators um, 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 the ability to build their own virtual experiences, like a world, so to speak.
Correct.
I don't know, Adrian, you want to continue?
Yeah. So we've always been an enabler, and even back then with what we did with even with live streaming and eventually 360, it was all about being the enabler for people to tell their stories, be it their brand stories or their personal messages to get it out there. So, you know, the products, the services, the technology is just a medium, really, be it 360, 3D, AR, what have you, to tell the experiences. And that's underlying a lot of what we do, right? Storytelling, really. Yeah.
Yeah, and then really is in the age of Web 2 social media, I think a lot of businesses are spending too much money on like social media advertising and getting lesser and lesser traction and traffic with their customer base, and even organic traffic is going down. So our hypothesis was that by having such a world, um, the brands and businesses and creators can bring in their own base of customers and then let them organically discover what the brand or business wants them to discover, but then have multiple of such worlds interconnected, and then suddenly you have this universe, right? The universe of different worlds, not unlike walking down a street and then you discover shopping malls and parks and whatnot organically. Yeah.
Right, cool. So at the moment, right now, we'll open questions to the community. So if you have a question, please enter them into the YouTube live stream chat. So we're looking out for any questions. We'll ask them as they come. In the meantime, how about I have another question. How does Actual Life differentiate itself from other metaverses? So you've mentioned before sort of enabling this very organic way that people, you know, traverse this virtual space and then go into different worlds and meet businesses. How does Actual Life do that differently?
Yeah, so I think to sort of answer from the previous question that you had, so we saw the opportunity to combine a few different technologies. So the streaming that we did eventually became VR 360, and we're currently working on our AR stack. And then subsequently, pushed out our concept of the virtual city, which became Actual Life, the metaverse today. So we're different in the sense that our long-term vision is to power up the lifestyle of AR everywhere and smart cities. But the mission for now is really to build the next evolution of social networking that connects people with immersive experiences. So VR, AR, 360, those type of content to us are immersive, right? And then with Metaverse as the gelling layer, we see tremendous opportunities pertaining to smart cities. So in that regard, we're quite different because it's not just about a game. It's not just about some fancy stuff you see in the metaverse. So to us, metaverse is really very important. It's really the new medium of content consumption and creation, right? So correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, but for actual life, we want to create metaverse as a service. Think of it as you would a Shopify for the metaverse.
Yep.
Yeah, Adrian.
Yeah. So going back to how we, used to give services and to be an enabler, right? So metaverse as a service. So you didn't need to, you don't need to worry about what you don't know in the metaverse, because a lot of brands, business entities, they see this conversation happening, right? They know the metaverse is happening. They know about Web3, but they might not have the understanding or capability to have a seat at the table. And that's what we're hoping to do, to bring more brands, businesses, smaller brands, especially to into the metaverse. This being the next, the next wave of the future of um, social in the in, for e-commerce, or for just social networking in general. Yeah.
Yeah, I think looking at a lot of the current offerings out there, it's very siloed. Is mostly promoting a game. It is about blockchain and crypto,
Yeah.
which the mass population still has a hard time figuring out what is MetaMask, right? And also the ones who do get in, will find like a lot of the pixelated land purchase being overpriced and unaffordable. Um, or some of those are just graphically too um, so-called too intense. They're really meant for a much younger demographic. So I think we want to cater to the creators, brands, businesses who are usually run by an older demographic, while at the same time what we're creating is really meant for the younger demographic, and we just want to build that bridge to connect these two demographics, just because it makes not just business sense but social aspect as well, so that we can really connect everyone together, yeah, regardless of where they're from and who they are and what they do.
Okay, great. We have our first question, straight to the money. He's asking, how can we monetize in the metaverse beyond advertising? So I suppose some of it has been answered already, as talking about having businesses onto actual life, and how you would, um, start social networking from there. Could you just elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we want to make it as affordable as subscribing to Shopify, and then enabling, just like Shopify, enabling our metaverse as a service platform with all sorts of widgets from booking engines to payment gateways beyond just crypto, but also addressing fiat and credit card payments and your digital, your QR code type payments, your digital wallets, as well as other useful things like third party logistics, analytics, design toolkits, video editing, and so on and so forth. So making this world fully capable of commercializing and monetizing for you, not just as a business, but also as a content creator right from the start, right? So reimagine ways of using NFTs, reimagine ways of building your business, beyond just a website, something that is not just entertaining, but can be educating as well, right? And then there are also other sorts of technologies, including machine learning, AI, or even applying it to IoTs, linking it to IoTs, like what we did with our MVP Metaverse. So we fully integrated a smart vending machine system with our Metaverse, so that the coins earned from gameplay within our metaverse can be redeemed for physical merchandise, which physical goods, which is then dispensed from specified vending machines in real life, right? So vending machines, most of us, or in fact all of us, understand how vending machines work. We just connected the two. So something like that is easily consumable.
Cool. Adrian, you have anything to say on top of that?
Well, so I mean, the metaverse is just another medium for doing business or for social networking, really. And but what the metaverse can do, right, with upcoming technologies such as AR, such as machine learning or AI, right, as well as blockchain. This powers the next generation of social networking and commerce, really. So it's a lot of opportunity that's available. We are still in early stages in a lot of these technologies.
Mhm.
So what's coming in the future is actually going to be very exciting. Plus, the next generation are all going to be what I think maybe Web3 native or Metaverse native. It's something people are growing up with, and that's where we're going
Yeah.
to see the exciting capabilities come out from this space.
Yeah. And we're establishing different collaborations, partnerships, and JVs. One recent, in fact, our first JV is with a food and farming ecosystem, and it's called MetaFarms. If you guys want to check it out, metafarms.io. It's based in Philippines. So we're literally taking a very traditional ecosystem, food and farming, and bringing them into the metaverse as well as Web3, right? So, how do we do it? Well, you have to call us to find out. But we really reimagined the different ways of using NFTs and the metaverse and gamification, blockchain, and whatnot, and also including AI, obviously, and really transforming this very traditional business into Web3 capable.
Cool. So that's metafarms.io. So if you want to check it out, go ahead. Um, right. So talking a bit about more of the collaborations in the future, and since we had our launch just early this week, what can we expect to see in actual life? First of all, during this launch, and then also in the future as well. Um, Mainly with uh, the collaborations, what you have in game right now, and how that's going to expand to something bigger that meets this the way you want to connect people together.
Mm.
So yeah, go ahead, Warren.
Yep, go ahead, Adrian.
So
Go for it.
with the launch, right, we were putting our stick in the sand and saying that this is actual life, right? But what you can expect in the next few weeks is the growing of the social capability, right? The engagement of the audiences for certain things like gameplay, but more importantly, we are working behind the scenes with certain brand partners, certain content partners to bring some really interesting things that's coming out next, or from different I guess you could say from different industries, um, from entertainment and social, which what we are currently working with, to um, to the tourism sector, even. Yeah, Warren.
Yeah, just like Adrian said, we had to put a stick and mark our spot in the sand, right? Um, the metaverse, to us, it was really a virtual city, right? It stemmed from there. So a lot of times, in order for most people to believe something, they have to see it. And just like our live streaming, the VR 360 content, the metaverse is something visual, very visceral. All right. So it was something that we needed to develop and produce to show the world what we meant. Okay.
Yeah.
But beyond that, really, like I think Adrian, you forgot to mention your favorite sentence. The metaverse is really just the icing on the cake,
Yes.
and we're building the many different layers underneath the icing. While as delicious as it is, the really yummy goodies are underneath that metaverse icing. So what you're going to see from us beyond this launch are the many, I wouldn't say many, the more critical Web3 components that we're building. how we're going to be using NFTs. We're reimagining what NFTs, now as, PFP, speculation, hype, artwork, what have you. And we've already seen some innovative content creators use NFTs in quite different ways, beyond just what Starbucks has announced relating to loyalty. But how can it have something more important, which is the democratization of our individual data? Okay, so that's one. Other ways include, the different type of payment enablers that we need in the metaverse, because current payment solutions are very geared towards Web 2. They haven't really been built for Web 3. And then other things beyond that would be, the various components that would really be critical in putting together a digital twin, a different type of metaverse, right? Digital twin, not of just spaces, but also of our individual selves while protecting privacy. Okay. So these are some of the ways that we're trying to reimagine technology and building some interesting tech components, and hopefully filing some patents because of those. Yeah.
Okay, speaking of NFTs, is there anything that we can talk about actual life NFTs coming soon or in the future? Are there any sneak peeks that we have in store that we can talk about?
Well, let's just say that we are working with a growing number of NFT projects, and we're doing some pretty interesting things. Something that has already been launched was our very first NFT collaboration with TOS, or the other side. So they have very cool looking, one of a kind 3D NFT, and we immediately integrated it with our avatar. Yeah, Adrian, what else did you do?
So well, with the TOS integration, we the thing about TOS is that they have different factions, right? So they have two factions, and we did some gameplay where you could have a faction versus faction. So this allowed the holders to experience something they couldn't have done before, just holding on to an NFT. So we gave them that community engagement capability. Right. So that's just one example of something that we are bringing towards for NFT collabs. But there are certain other things that we can and we are also experimenting to bring out. Like for example, what we did with NDP with the digital experience. These are concepts that we are ready to roll out, and we are already in discussions. Um, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say the rest of the NFTs, we are providing immediate utility beyond what it's originally meant for. All right. So utility including, not just interacting with other NFT owners, but also the interactions, the faction wars, the gameplays, the limited drops, that can happen, as well as other types of discoveries, right? As far as what we are planning to launch, our actual life NFT, I have to keep it a secret for now. But let's just say that we're designing it to make it appealing to, the rest of the crowd. The people in traditional Web 2 space that are learning about Web 3 now in the metaverse. We want to target those people, and also providing them with what I mentioned previously, something quite interesting pertaining to your privacy, right? The ability to democratize your own data in Web3. So hopefully, with our upcoming NFT launch, we haven't planned the date yet, but hopefully that launch will address this capability.
Cool. Yeah. So we're looking at kind of new ways or ways that other metaverses aren't really using NFTs for. And talking about other metaverses as well, a lot of them sort of advertise themselves as games. But like you mentioned before, actual life is not quite a game, even though we've seen gameplay in actual life. Even at launch, we've got our first gameplay as well. Tell us about sort of the gameplay element of actual life and how it kind of relates to the metaverse as a whole. Is it just something that's attached on top of it? Is it like a major component of it? Yeah, what is it about?
Well, it's a huge opportunity game because it's fun. It allows you to play. It allows you to express yourself. So if you don't leverage on game elements or play in general, it'll be quite a waste, of the metaverse experience really. So I look at technology as something, yes, as an enabler, but also something that improves the quality of life for people, right? And that's where I'm trying to get the experience to. So if something isn't fun, then maybe you're doing something wrong, especially in the metaverse, right? So yeah, so I think play and gameplay can help, can aid, can be an enabler for a lot of other technologies, from learning, even, from medical to communication, an element of play will go a long way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think fun is the key word. Yeah. And yeah, so we Actuality really is a B2B2C platform. On the B2C front, we want to gamify the experience. We want to make it fun. But gamification actually has a lot of business applications, right? So you mentioned, what are some of the things that we're coming up with? Well, let's just say we're gonna gamify the entire psychometric experience. We're gonna gamify what healthcare could be, and we're already in the midst of gamifying what food and farming should be, right? So these are many things that we are using gamification as the fun layer to connect consumers to businesses. Yeah.
People will be drawn to fun, right? And a lot of people, if you look at a lot of the play to win games out there, right? People are paying for fun, right? Paying to get ahead. But if you can use that for real good, that could be a real game changer here. And this is what we have in store coming up next.
Yeah, I think doing good is key, right? When you do good, you feel good. Yeah. So
It's a win-win. Yeah.
Right. So with all this, it's being powered up by Web3 technologies, right? So how does Web3 social engagement sort of differ from current social engagements through the platforms that we know now, like Facebook, Instagram, things like that?
Adrian?
Well, to me, Web3 is just a term, a combination of technologies. We lump it together, we say it's Web3. But I think if you look at the individual components, right? Social networking, will always be changing, right? The way we do things online will always change. And the platforms, the hardware, that enables this technology will also improve, and it will move us forward. Maybe in a few years' time they'll come up with a new term, Web 6. Even I'm hearing some Web 5 things going out there. It's a term end of the day, right? But like all technology, it can be used for good or harm. So what we use it for, what we leverage it for, I think if we can use it for good, in the end, that should be something we should aim for always.
Yeah, but I think one important element that will change how we interact, and also create that immediate touch point is the ability for peer-to-peer interactions to be immediate, because everything is on a blockchain. So peer-to-peer beyond just sending you a text message, sending me a voice recording, but the ability to transact, right? So through this blockchain enablement, we can literally, swap stuff, right? And we will both trust one another because it has already been verified on the blockchain, for example, right? So something as simple as that. And even when we, donate something, if it's on a blockchain, it's easily verified, right? And then there's a lot more to this than what we already know as social networking, like in the likes of Facebook and Instagram. Yeah.
Okay, so we're looking at Xctualyfe trying to make kind of a significant impact on the lives of users. So it is more fun, it's more accessible. And going back to NDP, when you talked a bit about the phygital experience, um, it's quite a big achievement to have sort of the phygital and the physical and the digital sort of come together. Um, how do you see this digital experience sort of expanding in actual life? What are the other examples you think of that could sort of pursue this experience?
So the vending machine being one prime example, I think we're looking at ways to solve some immediate pain points for consumers as well as businesses, but also to address some of the key performance indicators or KPIs that some of these businesses want to accomplish, right? Because they need to justify the investment, justify to their bosses, justify to stakeholders and whatnot. So as simple as the vending machine use case was, this can have a wider scale impact. Okay, applying it to the inbound tourist market as well as the outbound tourist market, and addressing a lot of the issues where manpower is a concern. Especially since COVID, and even though borders have returned, I mean reopened, um, a lot of countries are still having issues with bringing in foreign talent, right, manpower. So a lot of countries, especially the more westernized, more developed countries, they rely on workers from other countries. So a lot of the businesses are still not able to cover their manpower resources. So having certain level of contactless solution can help with some of these concerns. But beyond that is, how can we use other technologies to be combined into our solution, like computer vision, to the point where we can, track the um, trajectory of footfall within a mall. And that's, represented and visualized on the metaverse, which serves as a digital twin. As I mentioned, digital twin not just as a space, but also the individuals that you're, following the camera. Mind you, you don't have to track the face, but have different layers of such data to be visualized in the metaverse. We can eventually help do things like drive footfall, right, to a store or to a mall, and then use that information to better enhance the overall customer lifetime value to the business, right? So these are some of the things that we can, that we're actually looking at, yeah, and hope to implement.
Okay, so looking at Actualife's future, it's pretty optimistic. How about we circle back to see what we have right now? So the sort of this vision of a virtual city, you can kind of see it with Actual Life right now, even in both of your backgrounds. We're looking at Main Street. Can you talk a little bit more about maybe the inspiration behind Main Street, its design, and how that's sort of the centerpiece of Actual Life right now at launch?
So I just give a little history about Main Street. So when we first built our alpha release of Actual Life, we built a city environment, an urban environment, just so that we can see how that would look like. Because I felt that that was something that a lot of people could relate to, a lot of businesses could relate to. And Main Street turned out to be something while we were testing the gameplay experience. Found a lot of people jumping on the buildings of Main Street, so that actually became our first gameplay, right? That became parkour. But the taking that aside, looking at the way it was done, we and working on other projects and other stakeholders, it turned out that Main Street was a perfect place for a jump portal to exist, right? So a hub, kind of like a social hub. And when we released early access, a lot of people were just hanging around, pushing each other, climbing around the area, that hub area. So what you see behind me right now in Actual Life is the new Main Street reimagined, to work well with a variety of jump points, as well as being a fun, interactive area for people to just chill. Like, you think of it as the foyer in a mall, right? Where you would just meet your friends after school, something like that. So that was the inspiration behind the reimagining and the evolution of Main Street. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think now the experience is slightly different. Maybe you want to share a little bit more about
Hmm.
life space.
So thanks, Warren. Yeah. So after doing a few more user tests, right, and then especially new users coming into a metaverse experience, it's a bit jarring. You know, you sign up for this experience, you log in, and whoa, all of a sudden, right, you are in this area with people walking around. Can be a bit jarring. So what we have done actually with the launch of Xctualyfe was to provide you a personal space, a space for your life space, right? We call it. And that is like your it's like your home, your area. You know, you start somewhere a bit comfortable. You know, you don't have so many things going on, and from there you would be able to either go to a different experience such as Main Street or NDP experience, right? Or you can just stay there. You can invite friends. You can search for your friends who might have invited you to Xctualyfe, add them to your list of friends, and boom, you know, they would then appear in your life space. And then together, you could either go to Main Street together. It's the concept for that I had was with what I used to do with friends. Like before we go clubbing, we would all gather at someone's house, have a few drinks, you know, before you go out together, you know. So a whole bunch of people going out together or go play a game together. So that is the reimagining of the first experience of Xctualyfe, which is life space. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So with other metaverses, a lot of the a lot of what people think about is um, avatars and customization and how NFTs sort of decorate that avatar. How does actual life sort of handle that? So we have avatars. What's the level of customization and like how much more are we going to see added on top of that? And uh, even actual life's avatars
Yeah.
being different from the other ones. We don't really have faces per se. But what is the thought behind that?
Warren, why don't you
Yeah.
this one?
So I'm gonna start first. There is a face. It's just featureless. No eyes, no nose, no mouth. Right. So that is meant to represent your privacy in the age of Web3 and beyond. But you can customize however you want from head to toe. Even wear different shoes. Different sides of the shoes. Um, and also your left wrist could be wearing a watch. Your right wrist could be wearing bangles and or wristbands or whatnot. And we encourage everyone to customize their avatar, personalize it however they want. I guess you can think of it like the sleeves in Altered Carbon. Can always be different, but your memory stack is always the same. Okay.
Excellent.
And maybe Adrian can touch on some of these things and what our NFT marketplace, our X marketplace,
Yeah.
can do. Yeah.
So let me just show you guys a little bit behind the curtain of what's being developed, right? So with the different accessories that you would have in the on the avatar, right? That's something that we are looking at to tokenizing. So for example, there will be certain accessories that's common, but certain accessories where maybe you're a fan of Warren, you know, and then you are like, oh, you know, I want his limited edition cap, right? And I either I purchased it or I won it or I acquired it or maybe he traded it with me for my glasses or something like that. Then I would have the one of a kind item in Xctualyfe. But maybe because Warren is the CEO, it has special powers, right? Maybe you can jet surf, or maybe you can, fly or float, or gain speed in certain games, right? Because you got the powered items, right? Or shoes that can makes you jump higher, further, things like that. So these are powered items, right? That could and will make its appearance in Xctualyfe in the coming months.
So as like a B2B2C platform, we're expecting businesses to come on, and with that level of customization, do you find yourself looking at actual life as a bit of a silly place where you see businesses with extraordinarily customized avatars, with interacting with people who are customized just as silly? How does that look like to you? What is your impression of that view of actual life?
So customization is a self-expression, and in the future, in the next generation of social networking, customization is everything, right? Everyone wants to be unique. Everyone wants to be special. Everyone wants to be able to express themselves. But in reality, society might not let people in reality do it, right? So that's one benefit of the metaverse. It lets you be yourself, whoever, whatever you want to be, right? So I see a lot of maybe new businesses appearing, right, to aid people in self-expression, in reaching out and connecting people, in forming communities, in helping people run communities, even, because that's something I think the need for connection, right, is something that I think is a very real human need, and I think this is something that the metaverse can do good in enabling.
Yeah, I think one of the main reasons why our clients love working with us and also some of the prospects find interesting is the high level of customization that we can afford, right? So beyond these that you see in the background, which is our own design language and branding, we provide our customers the ability to customize however they want. It doesn't have to look like this, like all these cell shaded Borderlands style. It can also look realistic, according to their own design, right? We want to make sure that we're not restricting our clients at all. Hence the Shopify business model that we're taking a learning page from, right? And then avatars as well. Who's to say that we won't offer something different in the future? So yeah, so these are some of the things that we're looking at, and obviously, certain businesses, like for example, in the case of I guess like medical facilitations, they might want something that is more appropriate, for their industry segment, right? So we're always mindful of things like that.
So yeah, I mean, with all this, it really talks about Actualife's current mission, which is to develop the next evolution of social networking, connecting people with immersive experiences. But are there any other philosophies that maybe that you have personally that you kind of instill into Actualife, or you want to show um, the people, what Actualife can do, and how that's going to, show itself?
Warren,
Hmm.
you go first.
Yeah, so the personal philosophy is really to connect people and do good. And we want our platform to be where your life happens, right? So what's your life? Yeah, so we want it to happen in actual life. But I think as our team members are very aware, we truly want to benefit all segments of life, right? Regardless of their ability to, afford certain things or technologically wise do certain things. We always want to make sure technology is an enabler, not a hindrance. Yeah.
I think for me, I think the need to connect, I think I mentioned earlier, the need for humans to connect to others at a very personal level. Some people might not have the ability in real life. They might be not so able physically, right? And there's a safe place for education even. A lot of parts of the world right now might not have the capability or the the really the capability to reach out and pick up as to study or to to learn things as much as we see it very common. So I'm hoping that's where the world will go, and I think maybe the next evolution of social networking can be an enabler for that. Yeah.
Awesome. So with Actualife's launch right now, we've gone through some of the features that we've seen. What are the more immediate features that are probably going to roll out maybe these coming weeks or months? What do you see? Uh, what do you see yourself providing to the audience right now?
So what we have, Warren, go
No,
ahead.
no. I was just gonna
So
say,
mhm.
and you can continue. I'll maybe add on to what I'm saying. We want to make sure that everyone can consume it, right?
Mm,
So all the way up down to your mobile device.
yeah.
Okay. So currently it requires a download, but in a few weeks' time, there will no longer be a need to.
Mm.
right? So everything can be experienced from desktop to your tablet to your mobile phones.
Yeah, correct. So reaching out to more people that way. And for those who want to, the VR experience is something that we're also looking at closely. But being very well aware that not everyone has access to VR hardware, wanting to make it extremely accessible will be something that's coming up in the next few weeks and months, really.
Cool. And leading up to the launch, is there anything we can talk about project-wise that is sort of influence actual life's design or its ideation behind it? Is there anything that sort of inspired you as you built it along the way, or is this sort of this is the metaverse that you had in mind?
So I think there wasn't really like a persistent idea we had in mind. We wanted something cool, something relatively futuristic, something that could possibly be real, but at the same time is completely reimagined. Like the floating islands that we have, it's not your Avatar type of the movie, The Floating Island, nothing like that, or the
Yeah,
floating rocks,
yeah.
so to speak. Um, so we reimagined a lot of things, but I think we wanted to also um, provide an environment where our content creators, clients can experiment, and perhaps one day what they did in actual life can become reality in the physical world.
Yeah, I think as we developed actual life, right, from the early alpha stage, and we try a lot of different things and we work with different stakeholders, we see, oh, okay, this could work. And then, and then that shapes our perception of what we want it to look like. I mean, it didn't always look like this, right? But I like to imagine it as somewhere, we could jump into the virtual world. If we didn't need our human bodies, what it would look like. What kind of environment experience would you want to be? And that drives a lot of my imagination. And sometimes, when I ideate with the team on what is gonna look like or feel like. Yeah.
Yeah, you should see our very first POC. You know, yeah, it's we've come a long way.
Funnily enough, right, the first POC, the color gamut is kind of similar,
Yeah,
and when we came up with the purple color scheme, right, and then the earlier iterations of other people doing, metaverse, followed our color scheme. We were like, that's interesting,
yeah.
what a coincidence. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a bit about NDP. So NDP is sort of like one of the bigger projects closer to our launch, and that's sort of like the first hand that people got a chance to try it out, experience some of the games, some of what actual life can do about. Um, so in terms of recreating some of the NDP events and the styles, what was your experience like in building that? Because we see actual life's design being very creative with the color scheme and how everything's put together. It looks very futuristic. To sort of dial it down a bit, keep it a little bit more realistic and a bit more family friendly and have a more grounded design. What was that? What was that experience in building and incorporating all the more normalized things that people wanted to see?
Actually, Warren managed to convince the the committee to even get on board with a metaverse in the first place, right? But after we got on board, right, we were working with a lot of limitations, to be honest. And sometimes I think the limitations brings out the creativity. So we had limitations on the way we could express ourselves, the design limitations, but we worked creatively around it. And I'm quite blessed to have a very creative team to work with. Not just creative, but they are, technically very sound as well. So the team has been, champions. I think, you don't see the team on this call, but amazing team, really. I'm blessed to be working with some really good people, and they managed to bring out the essence of what we were trying to show during NDP, which would be to let a normal person, like if you watch NDP here in Singapore, National Day Parade, for those overseas viewers, at the most you're just going to see it from afar. Even if you have a ticket, you wouldn't be up close and personal with, the Red Lions, for example. But having this virtual experience to train with the Red Lions, or to fly with the Black Knights, that's just something that you cannot achieve any other way except with a virtual experience to feel you're part of it. So coming up with certain assets, certain creative assets, we had guidance from what was already out there, with the look and feel of certain brands, but coming up to put the experience together, I think it was the limitations that really drove the creative juices out, and of course, a great team, really.
Yeah. So I think resource allocation has always been a big thing, even where we are now. Our team are across 8 different countries, and there are over 30 of us now. And then we want to make sure that whatever we do is not just easily understood, but everyone likes what they're doing as well. So it's not just a Singapore metaverse, even though we are Singapore's first and only metaverse platform, right? But this is meant to transcend beyond just Singapore, immediately into the countries in Southeast Asia, which we believe will be the fastest growing and probably the most stable economic region in the world over the next few decades. So we need to make sure it resonates, to the people in our region. But beyond that is, like people in the US, Europe, Africa, if they find our work appealing as well. Yeah, so we have like a tall order in terms of who we want to appeal to, but we have to start with things that we can do easily, like, by our team.
Speaking about a team, let's talk about that just a little bit. So we have a team spanning many different countries. Uh, how does that work out? This is not something we really see very often. How is it really managed? And what are the challenges you face? And what are the maybe happy little accidents that happened because of it?
Yes, number one to start is we have to create a dad jokes channel.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so
So
that's a prerequisite.
yeah,
Yeah,
so
but
humor,
beyond that
humor.
is, yeah, beyond that is the ability to communicate. The modality is English, but communication is more than just verbal skills, right?
Mm.
It's how we understand without speaking, the ability to communicate openly and to share. Okay. And I think a lot of our team members coming from bigger, more structured organizations may not be used to our style of working. But I have to say our churn rate is very low. We have had team members who were with us since the start of our journey, and are still with us. So yeah, so those are, of course, a lot of work goes behind it. But Adrian, you want to share more about
Yeah, I
how we
think it.
manage that?
Yeah, I don't think it was something that we knew off the bat how to manage, because we started, small, really, and then we grew, and then learning how to manage. People management is one thing, but the team management, the communication, and one thing about us that we are quite a flat organization. So anyone and a lot of team members actually just keep directly in contact with Warren and myself, and trying not to create too much hierarchy, but also having some sane level of organization. So I think we took a page from like the Navy SEALs, where we work in small elite teams to get things done. But what we realized also was that we didn't want there to be a wall between teams, right? So we came up with certain R&D special teams, so that provided a way for different teams to work together, to build rapport, to get to know your other team, other colleague in a different team you might not work with every day, and to try to solve a problem that it's a real problem, R&D, or something that could lead to a product really, and some of them did lead and are leading to certain new verticals we're exploring next year as well. So that kind of very dynamic kind of system is what we have in place. Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
overnight.
Yeah, it wasn't overnight. I mean, we keep. I mean, we do a few different things. Like, we do believe in the 4-day work week, but we only implement it once a month. So every last Friday of the month is an off day for everyone. Um, and also, thankfully, the borders reopened, and I'm finally able to see more and more of our team members whom I've never met at all. Not even face to face. I do not know how they look like until recently.
Didn't
So
know who was taller than who.
yeah. So for the longest time, I've never met like 90% of the team, right? And I think also even those within the same countries, they miss that physical interaction. But we kind of make it up with different types of engagements, virtual engagements. Some of our team members actually chat with one another on Discord while working. We have some icebreaker sessions before our weekly calls. We try to be there for one another when something happens to one of our team members. Yeah, so we do the best we can. We don't have a learning page to go by. So yeah, we're still learning along the way, so it's still not perfect.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it goes along the way and how we can perfect the sort of the actual life treatment of our team. And yeah, if anybody's got any more questions in the chat, we're coming to the closing point of the AMA. If you do have any questions, please let us know in the YouTube live stream chat. We've got a few more minutes. Is there anything else, Warren Adrian, you want to talk about specifically or just in general?
Hmm. Um. Well, support us. So we're trying to grow our community, and we do believe we're doing something quite different and something beautiful that we have created. That it was an effort from the entire team. So I just want to say that I'm not just proud, I'm immensely thankful to everyone who has contributed, their share into this Xctualyfe metaverse. The work is not done, and there's still lots more to expect. But yeah, just keep a lookout. And if you have anything to share, any comments, feedback, any criticisms as well regarding our product, please get a hold of us. Yep.
I mean, for me, I think now that we've launched, we've just only gotten started. So, keep a lookout. The fun's just begun, really. We are just barely scratching the top of the surface of what we're gonna do, and we're gonna do it. So yeah.
Okay, great. So looking into Xctualyfe's mission and vision, um, and the future of really powering AR everywhere and that sort of smart city lifestyle, um, we're what are the plans for a more really further down the road goal? Is that something you have thought about, or is there a plan for that, or is there even anything we can share to come close to that?
Well, let's just say what you see behind, I want it in reality, in real life,
The real virtual world,
the real virtual world.
Actual life.
the actual life. Okay, thank you so much. I think that's about all the questions we'll be taking today. Thank you, Warren and Adrian, for your time, and every one of you here for joining us. Xctualyfe is out now, so please go check it out. You can download it at xctualyfe.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all at Xctualyfe, and LinkedIn at Xctuality. You're here on YouTube, that's at Xctuality as well. For news and updates, check us out on Discord and Telegram. We're here to speak with the community and foster social networking. So Discord is a place that we want to try to encourage more people to take advantage of and join us, because our future engagements will all sort of start from there. Online events, offline events, because we're all about the digital, aren't we?
Indeed.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Any last questions before we sign off? Get a few minutes. Okay, cool. Yeah, if there's nothing else, thank you so much. We'll close off here, and we'll see you hopefully next time in the next AMA. We'll decide on how soon that will be. If you want to keep up to date, make sure to check out our social media and check us out when we're next live. Are you hiring? Last question.
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are always
We just hired 2 positions.
always
Yes.
hiring. Yes.
Yeah.
And from anywhere across the world.
Yes, anywhere across the world.
Anyway.
And we don't ask for your diploma, so there's no need to cheat.
Okay, thank you so much. Take care.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone.